So today I want to share my experience of driving my 2023 Tesla Model Y 6,000 miles in about 6 weeks. So I drive quite a bit, and let me show you my odometer just as proof here. So as you can see, my odometer is 5,896 miles. I'm going to drive another 100 miles to go back home. So I'll be at around 6,000 miles. And just my thoughts on the 2023 Tesla Model Y. So as I mentioned, I drive about 140 miles a day just on my regular commute. I went up to the Bay Area where my family is during the holidays. So I went up during Christmas, and I went to Vegas, which is a 4-hour drive from Southern California, for New Year's. And I went in Vegas. I actually camped out at the, I think, Valley Fire State Park. So I actually camped in my Tesla when I was there. So I kind of want to share some of that experience and just kind of what I went through, right? So I've had the car for very little, and I already scraped this out of my car when I was trying to get out of a tight spot. And, I'm not used to such a wide turn in the Model Y. So my experience on buffing that out and cleaning that out. So once again, I basically drove the car around 6,000 miles in 6 weeks, averaging 1,000 miles a week. I bought this car for, I want to say, all in after taxes and the delivery fee, it was around $47,000. Since I bought it in December of 2023, and Tesla was trying to get rid of the inventory and meet their quotas, I did get a $3,000 discount off of that. So it should have been around $50,000, but because I bought existing inventory, and it was already there, they did give a $3,000 discount. So I have, basically the 2023 Model Y, standard color gray, 19-inch wheels, standard range, rear-wheel drive, and it's the new LFP battery, so those still qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit. And then because my income, not in 2023, but in 2022 was less than 150K for a single filer, I did qualify for that federal tax credit. So it was a huge incentive for me, right? So between the $3,000 discount plus, since I bought it in 2023, they said that I either use the 2022 income or the 2023 income, whatever is less, and whatever is less than 150, then you'll basically qualify for that. So fortunately, in 2022, that's when I was laid off, so my income wasn't above 150. So I qualified for the $700 federal tax return. So I was very incentivized to do that. And literally, my BMW, my other car, broke in, I think, right after Thanksgiving. So I was looking for a new car to buy. Was able to sell that old BMW for like $4,000. So, breaking down the price of the Tesla Model Y, I basically got it for $47,000, including taxes, destination fee, and then if you factor in the $700 tax credit, I paid around $40,000 for the standard range 2023 Model Y with 19-inch wheels. And so I'm excited to do my tax return so I can get that money. And when I got the car, my dad referred me, so he basically got some points and credits to help me get some accessories for the Tesla. I get 6 months of free supercharging, which I'm taking advantage of because I drive basically 140 miles a day, and I'm basically charging for about 30 to 35 minutes every day. So my daily commute is 70 miles each way. So when I drive to work, I'm actually driving up the mountains. So between the full commute, I use around 60% of my battery. So I typically charge up to around 85%, and then I'll drive 60%, back and forth, and I'm down at 25%. So I use about 60%, and going to work, since I'm going up the mountains, it uses about 40% of that 60, and then driving back, since I'm going downhill, I'm using about 20%. So the mileage isn't accurate. You want to use the battery, right? So it's weird, like mileage wise each way, 70 there, 70 back, but because I'm driving 70 miles uphill, I'm using 40% battery, versus when I'm doing 70% back, I'm going downhill, so you have the regenerative braking, so the car's a little more efficient, right? It doesn't have to work as hard. My car does come with Autopilot. and the full self-driving. So my car came with the autopilot. I got a 3-month trial of the full self-driving. To be honest, I don't use the full self-driving. Don't really trust it yet, but I do the autopilot, and got pretty proficient at the autopilot. So one thing that's kind of cool is, because I drive mostly freeway, it is nice. So you basically can set how many cars you follow behind the car and what your maximum speed is. So I typically hover max speed between 75 to 80, and this is California. And I like to basically have about maybe 5 car lengths behind, because I don't like to tailgate. If it's like more trafficy, I might adjust it to 4 car lengths. But if it's more open and there's not much traffic going on, then I'll give myself 6, just to give me some leeway. So something to know about autopilot is it is nice. I basically do the auto steer with the autopilot, so the car will steer for me and adjust the speed accordingly. And then when you want to change lanes, you just signal it, and then when it's safe, it'll signal over. Usually when you hit the signal, you'll see, like, if there's a car in your blind spot and it's too close to you, you'll see that the lane is red, and you'll see something flashing red on the side, signifying you that it's not going to make the change yet. So that is nice. But what's annoying is, let's say I'm on autopilot, I make the lane change, and then let's say another car from 2 lanes over goes into my lane. The car will actually swerve back into your original lane, and then once that car clears out, go back to that lane. So that is a little bit scary the first time that you experience it, but once you've done it once or twice, it's okay. Usually I only use the autopilot lane change if I am it's empty. If there's other cars in the area or it's more crowded, usually I'll just change the lanes myself. For cruise, I do like to use the chill mode. It's a smoother ride. The chill mode doesn't save any efficiency or battery life from my experience. I've done the full drive back and forth chill mode and then standard. There's no difference, but if you're driving in the chill mode autopilot, you don't accelerate as fast and doesn't brake as hard, so it's a little bit more gradual. But the regenerative brake on the chill mode, it's not as strong compared to like on standard mode. So just keep in mind that if you need to brake hard, usually I can get away with using the standard mode and then use a regenerative brake. Once I let go of the pedal, I don't have to hit the brakes. But with the chill mode, I'm noticing more that when I have to let go of the pedal, I have to hit the brake if I want to brake faster. So just some nuance to factor in. And then when you step on the accelerator with the chill mode, it takes longer to accelerate. You're not as fast, right? It's not as instant compared to like standard. So that's kind of one difference on that. But in terms of battery life, haven't really noticed a difference. The autopilot, so when you auto steer, you have to put pressure on the steering wheel every about 90 seconds. So let me show you. For the auto steer, when you're driving, you have to hold this every 90 seconds. But sometimes, like, if you lightly hold it like this, it'll still will alert you. Something will flash up on the camera. But a hack that I do is I just will turn up or down the volume like 1 notch or 2, and it will remove that alert. So what I do is I will literally leave my hands off for like 90 seconds, and then once the alert pops over there on this dashboard, usually I'll say, hey, apply pressure or slight turning force, and then I will adjust this right here, or you can adjust this right here. So that's been really nice for me. You kind of can stretch while you're driving. Easy, but like even if my hand is like lightly on the steering wheel, as I showed you earlier, like it still will signal me. The annoying part is there is a camera, so sorry, it's like right here. So this is the camera, and it does monitor your to make sure that you're paying attention to the road. And it's annoying. I think once you get like 5 warnings of pay attention to the road, it actually kicks you off auto steer. It'll actually say like, hey, we're deactivating auto steer, please put your hands back on. And then during that whole trip, you cannot use auto steer or autopilot at all. So you lost the privilege. And what's annoying is you basically have 5 strikes, right? And then once you have 5 strikes, you get suspended for like a week or 2. And then once you've gone over that week or 2 suspension, then you get back autopilot. So what I don't like about this is I got my first strike when I first got the car, because I was like trying to like learn the capabilities of the Tesla Model Y. And I got my second strike because I was literally trying to like find a charging station on the dashboard. And then it warned me like 3-4 times and it kicked me off. So if you want to work around it, what you can do is if you get kicked off and you're in a long drive, just get off at the next exit, put your car in park, and then put your car back in drive. and then you can resume auto steer and autopilot, right? Um, there is an autopilot, navigate autopilot. My car does have that. I don't really like the feature of that. I mean, it's supposed to like navigate the freeways for you and like make the lane changes, but like what's annoying is like the navigation isn't always accurate. So it always tells me like the lane change when I just want to cruise in the left lane, right? So I always find myself like canceling, because you have to approve all the lane changes on auto navigate and autopilot, and I always cancel it. So it's annoying. I really don't use the navigate and autopilot, to be honest. And then if like a car is like tailgating you, sometimes your car will signal to change lanes to move out of the way of the tailgater. So I don't really like that feature. So I don't really use the navigate and autopilot much yet, but maybe my mind will change later down the road. So basically from that, like I said, never did the full self-driving. Let's see, why I decided to do the 19-inch wheel. So basically you could get the 20-inch wheel, which comes with the black rims. You know, those look a lot nicer compared to the 19-inch wheels with the standard silver wheels. I actually like black rims a lot, but what I didn't like was the 20-inch tire. It's a bumpier ride. You know, my old car was a BMW, and I'm just over bumpy rides. I want it smooth. So number one, I didn't want 20-inch wheels because it's bumpier. Number two, I didn't want 20-inch wheels because they're more expensive, right? It's more expensive to buy a 20-inch wheel versus a 19-inch wheel. And number three is those 20-inch wheels have a slightly less range, so they're not as efficient. So I wanted to maximize my efficiency and my range. In terms of supercharging, so I supercharge pretty much every day to about 85%. With the LFP battery, you can actually, it's not the lithium ion battery, you can actually charge that to 100%. They actually recommend to do 100% once a week. So I will charge up to 85 to 90% depending on what I'm doing, if I'm making content. And I will say, when you're going to a supercharger, it does charge faster. So the 250 kilowatt versus the 150, it does charge faster initially for the first 10 minutes. But if you look at the kilowatt charging rate, it'll start off at 220 and then go down to 180 and then 170, then 150, then 140. But most of the time you're charging below that 150 range. So there's honestly not too much of a difference between the 150 and the 250, except for that first 10 minutes. And what was kind of disappointing was I kind of had this impression that supercharging took as much time as pumping the gas, but pumping the gas is a lot faster, right? It only takes me 5 minutes to pump my gas, and my tank can go 400 miles, versus my supercharger, I'm basically charging 30 minutes every day, because the first 10 minutes is fast, but then the subsequent time, it goes a lot slower. So that was one thing that I was slightly disappointed in with that, but it's not too inconvenient. You just kind of sit there and charge. I create my content during this time. And then the last thing I kind of want to talk about is I did camp mode on the car. So I camped, and I left on overnight. Temperature outside when I was camping was around the 40 degrees, and I maintained my car at 68. And with camp mode, I was probably burning about 1% per hour. So I was on for about 6 hours because I was afraid of draining my battery, and I did drain about 6%. And what's nice, if you look in the back seat, so I put these two back seats down, and if I had an inflatable twin mattress that fit pretty comfortably back there, it was me and my girlfriend. It's a little bit of a tight for two, but for one person, it's definitely spacious. I do have 6 inches or more vertical compared to the Model 3, the Model S. That's the advantage of the Model Y. So I did feel like I have a lot of headspace. I didn't feel claustrophobic, and it was actually very comfortable, with that. For camping, there's a power outlet in the trunk, so I bought an adapter where you could plug in outlets, but be careful that if your appliance requires too much energy, it may not work as well, right? It may not work the appliance. For example, we had a little water heater to make instant noodles, but it just didn't work because it wasn't strong enough. But the car cigarette lighter port was strong enough to inflate my mattress, right? So we did sleep in the back. It was very comfortable, very spacious. Air was circulated very well. So I had a great experience in terms of camping in my Tesla, and we definitely will camp in my Tesla again because it's more comfortable than sleeping in a tent. Like I said, you can fit a twin-size mattress back there pretty comfortably. A little tight for two, definitely with the one, it's easy there. But overall, my experience has been pretty good driving the car. I haven't had too many issues. I learned the autopilot. I usually do it on chill mode. I did mention earlier I did scratch the side of my car by accident, so I got this cleaning agent where you kind of buff it out, and I did make a pretty significant one. And I bought some touch-up paint on Amazon for like $12. I'm happy to drop the link down below to those products. And then I touched it up, and at this point, if you look at it at certain angles, you can see the scratch, but it looks like kind of like a dust. So that was stupid on me. I was trying to get out of a tight spot, and the Model Y has a wide turn because it has wider tires compared to a BMW, which is a sports car. So I wasn't used to that, and I was trying to make a cut tight corner, and I did scratch the side a little bit, and no sensor went off, right? So the sensor's only for the front and the back. For the side, you rely on the side mirrors, but because it's such a tight spot, my side mirrors were closed down. Like you can, side mirrors are closed down, and then I didn't see that the side. So hopefully you found some value on some experience of me driving 6,000 miles in 6 weeks, and my experience driving the Tesla. And I'll continue to document my expenses that I have and my experience using the car, because I do drive a lot, and I do plan on camping in the car a lot, and I do plan on taking advantage of the 6 months of free supercharging, right? Because I supercharge every day, and on the weekends that I'm off, I'm going on road trips and like camping, right? Because now I actually enjoy camping because I have electricity, which is my car, and I can sleep in the back. So if you found value from this video, let me know if you have any comments or questions down below, and share this video with someone that can find value from this. I hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.